The stock market has been on the rise for quite some time now, setting all-time high after all-time high. However, things are feeling a bit shaky lately, with the S&P 500 dropping for a few days in the past month. Now, every time this happens, most investors start feeling a bit anxious and can't help but think, since markets appear so high at the moment, they surely have to come down from here at some point, right? So if we just hold on to our cash and wait for them to crash, we'll buy in at a much lower price. But are we just losing time and money by keeping our cash on the sidelines waiting for the market to crash? Well, in this video we're going to unpick all of that, and I'm also going to be showing you some really interesting data that will surprise many of you. In fact, I will also show you what Vanguard says we should and shouldn't do if the market crashes. Which investor would you rather be? The one pushing the ball up or the one at the top who is just letting the ball roll? Well, most people are approaching this whole investing game like this without even realizing. But there is a small group of investors whose journey is looking like this, and those people are the ones that will actually achieve their investment goals. I've recently been seeing a lot of comments on YouTube videos from people who say that they're holding on to cash right now in anticipation of the next market crash. And I know that if there are a few people commenting on this sort of thing, there are actually hundreds others doing or thinking the same thing. Now, this sounds like a great strategy. After all, if we wait for the market to crash, we'll just buy in at a much lower price. And then when it goes back up, we will make some good money. But what does the actual data say? Well, the first point we need to address is this. How much of a drop is going to trigger us to buy in? 10% from current levels, 20%, or even more? If we assume that a 20% drop would trigger us to buy in, what are the odds that the market will actually drop that much from its peak at any given moment? The historical data, which looks at the stock market performance between 1960 and 2021, says that there is a 40.7% chance of this happening. So if you were to implement this strategy at any day during this time period, you had a 2 in 5 chance of it paying off. But importantly, the average time that it would have taken to hit that target is 25 months. So just over 2 years, which is quite a long time in my opinion. And this brings us to our second point. If we look back at the S&P 500 over the same 60-year period and at all the days in which new all-time highs have been set, what is the probability that we pick one of those days and then the market goes on to fall from that point by 20%? Now remember, we've just seen what happened with an average day. The chances there were 40.7%. But here we're talking about all-time highs, so we should expect that percentage to be higher, right? Actually, the answer is just 47.4%, a difference of only 6% between the two. Now, I know that looking back at historical data and then trying to make predictions based on it is just plain wrong. After all, past performance is not an indicator of future performance. But if you think about it, any investing decision that we make is based on historical data. The question is just how far back are you willing to go? Personally, I'd rather base my decisions on as much data as possible rather than just my gut feel. But that's just me. But here is the big problem. Most people holding cash today in anticipation of a market crash don't make that decision on days when the markets are already down. They do it on a day like today, where the markets are currently setting new all-time highs all the time. But as we've just seen, hitting an all-time high isn't actually a reliable indicator of future price movements. So to explore this further, we're going to look at some data that shows how this would have worked over time if we only invested that cash on the sidelines when the market was setting all-time highs. According to this study by Schroders, the market is actually at an all-time high more often than we might think. Of the 1,176 months since January 1926, the market was at an all-time high in 354 of them, or 30% of the time. For example, imagine you invested 100 pounds or dollars in the US stock market in 1926. By the end of 2023, after inflation, that amount would have grown to 85,000, which is an average annual growth rate of 7.1%. Now, if you had a plan to move your money out of the stock market and into cash every time the market reached an all-time high, and then move it back into the market when it wasn't at an all-time high, hoping to just buy cheaper, your investment would only be worth 8,790. This is 90% lower, meaning that the return on this portfolio would have been 4.7% after inflation. This study covers a nearly 100-year time period, longer than than most people plan for. But even in the short term, investors would have missed out on a lot of potential wealth. So we've established that by investing whenever the market is at all-time highs, you will still be better off than switching to cash and then investing again when the market drops a little. Now, as you can see from this chart, even if you had invested at literally the worst possible time before any of the major market crashes since 1926, if you held that money invested for long enough, your returns would have ended up rising to the long-term average. Unsurprisingly, investing right before market crashes provided some pretty terrible short-term returns. But we're long-term investors here, so what's interesting is that the longer you stay invested, you slowly return to the long-term average of about 10%. The key was to stay invested for the long run. But the big question is this: what happens if we can perfectly pick when the market is going to crash and we buy at the bottom every single time throughout our investment journey? Well, this chart shows how this buy the dip strategy compares to simply investing month after month, also known as pound or dollar cost averaging. When the buy the dip strategy is above the 0% line, it means that it ended up with more money, and when it's below the 0% line, it ends with less money. So what this shows is that even if you knew precisely when the bottom of the market was, you could still only outperform the simple monthly investing approach 30% of the time. In fact, looking at this chart, we can see that even if you had invested at the bottom of any major market crash since 1929, if you held your money in the market for long enough, your returns would have ended up falling to the long-term average of 10%, just like if you had invested at the worst possible time. My point in all of this is that even if you had perfect information about when the market is going to crash, if you attempt to build up cash and then buy at the next bottom, you will likely be worse off than if you had bought every month. Because while you wait for the next dip, the market is likely to keep rising and leave you behind. So that money that you put in during the early years stays invested and grows over a long period of time. And also, by averaging the cost of the shares you buy, be it through an index fund or individual investing, you smooth out those lows and highs. Now, when we're talking about these types of strategies, it's not just enough to know what the data says. We also need to know that we're going to be able to stick to the plan when the time comes. We need to ensure that we're actually going to press the buy button when the time comes. So let's say that we decide this time is going to be different and we do hold onto our cash waiting for the market to crash. What are the chances of us actually sticking to this plan and buying when the market hits the bottom? Now, even if you can stick to the plan, you still might not end up with the results that you're hoping for. Because even if the market falls, you still have to time the bottom. And how do you know if it's going to continue dropping or not? The reality is that you don't. Last year, Financial Times ran a story on Carl Icahn, a billionaire investor who's been positioning his portfolio in expectation of a big stock market crash. But the problem is that he's been holding this position since 2017, and over the last 6 years, as the stock market has climbed higher and higher, this position ended up losing him $9 billion. And here is what he had to say about this. I've always told people that there is nobody who can really pick the market on a short term or an intermediate term basis. Maybe I made the mistake of not following my own advice. So if not even the best investors in the world can beat the simple strategy of investing month after month, why should we average investors try to do it? Vanguard themselves say in this article about timing the market that stocks and shares have historically risen over the long term. And if you sit in cash for only 1 month waiting for the market to crash, you have a 56.9% chance of having less money than if you just stayed invested in the first place. And as you can see here, if you stay in cash for 12 months, you have a 78.6% chance of underperforming. Therefore, if you've got cash sitting on the sidelines right now, even if you think that the market is about to come crashing down, you would still be better off just continuing investing that cash and holding onto it for the long term. Because this is what this kind of investors do. And that's why their journey to achieving their investment goals is so simple. But here is the thing. Although investing for the long term is really the best thing we can do for our portfolios, the reality is that there are many things that people get completely wrong about long-term investing and end up losing a lot of money. So watch this video next to find out what those things are and how to avoid them.